Hello everyone, my name is Ace and this is the Wolves Go Rar channel. It's been a minute since I made a video, but I believe that's how I used to start them, isn't it? I don't really make YouTube videos anymore, and this is once again an attempt to change that habit, to perhaps put out more content if I can. I still prefer live streaming, it's just a beast that is more natural to me, but my god, do I need to branch out. It has been a minute. And the RPG turn-based strategy games that have made me well-known and well-liked are drying up faster than my patience is during these damned heat waves. Hope you guys are surviving your summers well, because I am struggling. And with the summers kicking my ass and making me struggle, I too have been kicked in the ass and have been made to struggle when I try to make this build. It is fun though. The segue, they're still there. This build is a cast on crit energy blade. Inquisitor. Stat stacking Inquisitor. I'm using a lot of strength and intelligence to amp up both my defenses, my effective health pool, but also my damage, and it's been doing quite well. Surprisingly well. I'm currently at a level of investment close to 100x, I think. Some of my crafts didn't really work out and became horrifically expensive by my standards. And the jewel that I also have, Radiant Faith, we'll go into that in more detail later, was also like 30x. So this is not a league starter. This is not even a guide. This is just a build video. Like a journal for my insanity as I try to put on display this abomination that is surprisingly fun to play. It is not meta, it is unconventional, and it's tickling my fancy. If you're wondering what kind of builds I enjoy, I like things that synergize and work together. A singular point of interest achieving multiple goals, and in this case it's stat stacking, achieving defense as well as offense. I like that. I also like a good stacking of anything. May it be charges, may it be auras. But all of them are always very expensive. I also enjoyed, I believe it was in the Expedition League, might be wrong though, the Hiltless Sword, or there's a sword that reflects physical attacks back to you, which allows you to trigger your flasks. And as a Pathfinder, you can do some very fun things with that. Unique mechanics that perhaps are unconventional but interesting and satisfying once you pull them off. I enjoy builds like that. That's the kind of builder I am. I don't enjoy just taking a skill, getting a couple of gem levels, getting a bunch of crit multi on the gear and calling it a day. I don't really enjoy that. I like an interesting mechanic to the build. And I think I've achieved it here quite well. The gameplay shows multiple skills, mostly Ice Spear and Blazing Salvo, but a little bit of Eye of Winter. It's also flexible. It's very flexible in the choices of spells you want to use. You can even optimize for single target or AoE. You have freedom of choice when it comes down to that. And there are many upgrades still to go. I've recently changed a bunch of things. I will go over them for reasons of quality of life, and there are many upgrades still to be had. But I hope you enjoy what it looks like, as I now will go into detail about what it actually is and how it's put together. But once again, hear me when I say this is not a guide. This is just a madman replacing reason with madness. If you do wish to follow the build, you can occasionally find me on Twitch, or the POB can be directly pulled in the streamer section on POE Ninja, or just import the account. It's the same as the channel name. You should be able to find the Inquisitor cast on Wolf, and you can adjust to your own liking, or perhaps there is a better way to do what I have been doing and I've just not been seeing it yet. Let me know. But without further ado, let's get into it. Here it is on full display. The stat stacking Inquisitor, cast on crit, energy blade wielding bastard, using a multitude of interacting mechanics to facilitate the the wonderful abomination that is this build. Of course, let's start at the beginning. Why Inquisitor? And why not something else? A lot of people play a similar version of this build, not with Ivory Tower and such, but they play Cast on Crit, Ice Spear. As the Deadeye, we have decided to go with Inquisitor. Why? Because if we are stacking stats, we get crit chance, where Cast on Crit speaks for itself. Crit allows the ignoring of elemental resistances, no pen needed. Augury of Penitence, well, we're elemental based, so why not? And Battle Mage, very important. This is a key, important part of this build. Now, since we are stacking stats, we're getting spell bonus through the Iron Will node, and of course the stats themselves give us life and mana and energy shield. If you look at my energy shield right now, we have a lot of energy shield, 25,000, nearly 26,000. We cut that roughly under half, or with half, to facilitate the creation of our energy blade. This scales our battle mage. So basically, more energy shield equals more defenses, more effective health pool, but also more damage. More intellect, more energy shield, more damage. In fact, more strength, more energy shield, more damage. Because of Shaper's Touch as well. And the more life we have, the more scaling we get with the Ivory Tower. You can see how this is all starting to work together and how we have these numbers be so big, and we are still far from max potential. Anyway, we get accuracy rating here as well. If you have enough intellect, you can drop precision. I think it's somewhere around the 13 to 1400 mark, so we're creeping in on it. We still have a lot to do though. So once you facilitate all these stats, you can skill them even harder. Get a little bit of transfiguration of soul, body, and mind, some more increased life, mana, and global energy shield. This is the perfect helm, perfect enchant. Even getting a little bit of maximum energy shield implicit. Socketed lighting gems doesn't really do anything. I am still missing implicits on the Ivory Tower, but I'm too afraid to double corrupt this. I'm not brave enough or rich enough. We have a wonderful Aegis Aurora, the maximum energy shield implicit. I would have preferred spell block, but those are quite expensive, especially with a second one. Second implicit, that is. We're using basic boots, as we have no need for onslaught. I'll show you in a bit why. Just basic movement speed, big resist, good stats, action speed. It all speaks for itself. We have an almost perfect ring. Imagine if this was actual, not crafted energy shield, a better mana, and a tier 1 strength. It would have been a perfect ring for us. Here we have another wonderful ring, tier 1 stats across the board, good life, tier 1 life, and a non-channel skill craft. Open prefix still, but I'm not willing to slam an exalt quite yet. The non-channeling skill is important. You need one of them with a divergent inspiration. If you don't have divergent inspiration, you need 2 of these crafts, but then you can't run Arcane Surge because your Frostblink won't be too costly, won't be costly enough to trigger it, which would be unfortunate. I actually like how my average damage on Frostblink is 100,000. This build is nuts. Speaking of doing damage, before we do that, necklace made possible due to recombination. If you don't have this, Astromantis maybe with a good double corrupt might be a reasonable replacement, but you can imagine how powerful this with the double stat, the attributes, increased attributes, and the increased maximum energy shield. It's phenomenal. Wonderful belt as well. Strength, increased attribute, life. And I thought it was really good because the increased flask charge gained. But turns out you don't need it. If you have 26% quality or 28% quality, the coruscating elixir is permanent already, using, of course, the trader. Just real quickly, this is where my onslaught comes from, as a result of the gem, the Brutal Restraint Timeless Jewel from Balbala, which gives the trader, if you have the duration extended long enough, which happens with 26 to 28% quality on the Ruby Flask here, you don't need the belt to have this thing go permanent, which means you're insulated against chaos damage from ruining your life due to preserving all your life. Same thing with the Bismuth Flask. It's good enough. If you have 20% and increased charge recovery or increased duration, it's permanently up, which also gives us massive amounts of armor, which facilitates the 100,000 armor, maxing out our molten shell as well. Quicksilver, a little different, much shorter duration. So we use the crit chance because we are most likely going to be at a distance, unlike Cyclone, so we can avoid most of those hits, which is another layer of defense, if you will, I suppose, as well as spell damage lead, so we can still get charges from a distance without having to rely on the on-hit charge effect a lot of people like to use. And I can't blame him. It's really, really strong. Just real quickly as well over the gems then. While we're here, Whirling Blades is your main movement skill just to move around in the maps. We have Frostblink and an Arcane Surge. Once again, you can't use Arcane Surge if you don't have a Divergent Inspiration because you have to use double minus cost craft. Maybe you can use a Cooling Strike instead until then. This Discipline, I want to have a Val 21 Discipline, but surprisingly tricky to pull off, as you need a double Corrupt. And I've been unlucky so far, but the degens can be countered by having the oh shit button that a Val Discipline might give you. Energy Blade, of course, speaks for itself. Determination, Clarity on an Arrogance. The more life you reserve, the better. You want to maximize the life reservation as you can. I'm still leveling up a new gem. I have a 21 ready, but I don't have quite enough available. I'm going to see if a 20 works. Otherwise, I might have to dabble with an Arrogance level 21. We'll see. It's testing. We have, of course, Precision, because we don't have enough Intellect yet to not need Precision. I think it's 13 to 1400 Intellect you need to no longer need Precision to cap everything out, including Accuracy and Crit Chance. On 6% spells. 7% spells are already capped out, even without Precision, I believe, at this point. Like Ice Spear, which is why one of the reasons Ice Spear is so goddamn good. Just phenomenal. Build in pure crit multi as well. It's too good. It's too good. Purity of Elements speaks for itself. Resistance, ailment, immunity. Enlightened support 3, not 4, because once again, we want to reserve as much mana as we can, but not so much we brick our build. So I like to be around 100, a little under if I could, but due to the fact that I am not hard casting my Sniper's Mark, I have to be ready to be able to cast 41 mana. And due to some weird interactions, it seems that Sniper's Mark sometimes keeps reapplying, even though it has supposedly a nearly 4-second cooldown. There seems to be some weird cooldown interaction with Lancing Steel that it almost seems to sometimes ignore it, which I guess makes sense why we are seeing so many projectiles at any given time under the right circumstances. Tempest Shield, spell block, speaks for itself with Aegis Aurora. Defiance Banner, Molten Shell. Molten Shell is always maxed out, which is phenomenal. I do want to level it up. I was using a cast on damage taken trigger, but no longer needed. I'm just going to use it on left click and just level it up. Sniper's Mark, of course, as well as Mark on hit. So that kind of gives you an idea. I might ultimately go for hardcasting Sniper's Mark because it's a lot cheaper if you do so, which allows me to reserve mana a lot better by maybe switching a few spells around. And it also makes the Sniper's Mark itself more effective as we don't take the penalty from Mark on hit. I might be able to even put a Culling Strike then on a Divergent Frostblink combination. Might be good. Be able to cull with a good little jump in time. Yeah, why not? So we know why the flasks are permanent. You have seen the basis of my gear. Let's take a look at the tree real quickly. Might look like a weird tree. It's a little bit of a weird tree, but that's because of the split personality ×2. Giving us lots of intelligence, lots of strength, which of course gives us all the scaling we need. Maximum energy shield and life, giving us more effective hit points and more damage due to the way everything works together. A little bit more extra energy shield based on mana, which of course is good. More scaling, life, mana. Little free socket, why not? More life, more mana. Crit multi, because when in Rome. We go down here, pick up, we go through the Holy Dominion. This one, Light of Divinity, doesn't really matter. It just happens to be that I had a point extra and there was a life node on it, but it doesn't matter. Go pick up, we go around. You can get some, still lucky, very lucky onslaught here. We do pick up the Purity of Flesh because energy shield and life and chaos resistance, very important. We are positive on chaos resistance, courtesy of the Watcher's Eye and the 2 rings, as well as the Purity of Flesh. Wheel right here. Also, maximum mana as extra energy shield. Again, lots of scaling. I would have been perfect if we also had energy shield on hit. Well, affected by discipline. Sadly, not the case. I'm not even sure if that thing exists, and if it does, it must be super expensive. Due to this wheel over here, the tireless, we have a reduction of cost of skills, which allows us to maintain a respectable amount of mana without breaking our mana pool or needing to reserve less. Really good. Also life, also damage, right? Like this is just an incredible valuable wheel. We pick up glancing blows to get more value for Aegis Aurora, a little bit of divine shield. We have not picked up unwavering stance because I don't really get stunned like at all. But you can pick it up. If you do notice you get stunned often, you can just pick it up 1 point. We are not gracing yet. We're not evading anything yet. You can just pick it up. Easy points. Attribute wheel. We are currently anointing utmost intellect, but in a perfect world, we would rebalance the pathing here. Then we can maybe spec into it. Who knows? We do want to pick up Throat Seeker. That's my next goal. If I get 1 more level or 2 more levels, I might do a little bit of a respec and get Throat Seeker, which is going to be massive damage. Right now, the build does roughly about 10 to 20 million single target DPS. Probably more under the right circumstances, but I can't get POB to show it properly. I'm not sure why. Maybe you can. I cannot. And of course, you also want to pick up Champion of the Cause because it also increases the reservation of life reservation, which allows us to have 2 maxed out spells here being reserved, or 2 maxed out auras being reserved, as opposed to just the 1. Because the tree over here on sovereignty gives mana reservation, which is not something we're looking for. Champion of the Cause does both mana and life and allows us to do that. The more reservation we have on life, the better. And as long as we have enough mana to cast everything without getting interrupted, we can reserve more and more mana as well. And that's pretty much it. That's how I put it together. I'm still testing a lot of things. I'm still improving and optimizing gear, skills, and trying all kinds of stuff because I'm messing around some more with Eye of Winter and a fork, which also applies to the Lancing Steel. And maybe Chain might have some value there, but I would have to drop Anomalous Ice Spear because piercing and chaining doesn't work together. Freezing Pulse is liked by many. I don't like it that much. I prefer Blazing Salvo due to its almost Forbidden Rite-like convergence on a single target and it's spreading on a pack for good AoE. But you can mess around with it. As long as it scales well with crit and elemental damage and preferably projectiles, you can add it. Just one more thing with the Lancing Steel. Just a little bit of a hidden tech that I found. Because Call of Steel, quite slow, right? Quite slow. Not gonna feel good. Not gonna feel good. Turns out, we also have to use Frostblink to get Arcane Surge. If you use them both, one cancels the other. At least the animation. As you can see, let me get rid of all my shards. If I cast a shard and jump at the same time, I interrupt the animation almost. And I still get to move. It's very lovely. There's a little bit of an interruption, but it's a lot less slow. It's almost instant, which is very good. It's almost a similar effect as if you had gotten yourself a steel gem. But yeah, it allows you to jump around and get the charges. And since it's a lingering effect, it can apparently hit the other side of my hideout, as you can see. It is insane, the distance. You can essentially jump around, put down a lingering effect, creating these almost ward loop-like situations where you keep casting but just getting yourself into a better position or moving forward to the next pack, out of harm's way or into a pack's way, if you will, while you move in between packs with Whirling Blade, giving you this wonderful play style where you can just keep going and not really be slowed down, despite not being quite the super zoomer build. And during a fight like maybe Maven or an uber boss and you have to get out of a specific mechanic and you still want to be able to do damage, this build allows you to do that, unlike Cyclone, where you actually have to get out of harm's way and have to be close to the boss. A little bit of a different take, but definitely an effective one. If you want to keep an eye on, I'll post a POB in the description. Otherwise, you can always find me by importing my account. Just use the channel's name, and then you can find it. It's Cast on Wolf once again. Or the PoE Ninja website has me listed as one of their streamers as well, so you should be able to find my characters on the league too. You can even maybe do some snapshotting in that sense, depending on how long ago it has been since you have seen this video and the league has been going on. Other than that, if you have any questions, hit me up in the Discord, find me on Twitch, or otherwise put them below. And I will see you guys on the other end. Take care, and I'm out.